First vehicle we're testing is the CLS55, the newest and hottest AMG model in a long line of cars beginning in the early 90s when Mercedes first began officially collaborating with AMG. Not coincidentally, someone who knows a little bit about collaboration with Mercedes Benz to the tune of 2 world championships. You know our next guest, unless you've been living on another planet for the last 10 years, 2-time Formula One champion, legendary Formula One driver. His fans call him the Flying Finn. Mika Häkkinen, welcome to Test Drive.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Now, you had a little retirement from Formula One, but you decided you needed a little bit of adrenaline, so you came back to DTM. What is the atmosphere like in DTM? Is it more relaxed? Is it different? I mean, I'm sure it's still intense, but is it a more relaxed atmosphere?
It's better because, and one of the most important points what I realized, DTM is really focusing for the fans, and racing is also a little bit more interesting because it's very close racing. You can touch sometimes to other car, you know. If you do that in Formula One, you know, you're gonna fly in the air and bits and pieces. So it's more exciting.
Maybe you should try NASCAR.
Maybe I should. Yeah, I've seen some, you know, shots. You know.
Now, I spent my whole career in closed cars. How was it getting used to the hot cockpit? Something you had air conditioning in Formula One virtually. There's so much fresh air. What was it like driving in a closed car?
It was very difficult, actually. You know, I thought first. When I first tested the DTM car, I thought, you know, just let's go for it and let's have fun. And I did. But, you know, after many laps, you realize that with the dehydration become a big issue when you're driving because there's no air, really. And because the engine is in front of the car, it creates a lot of heat for the driver. So it was a small problem. Even we have little cooling inside in a car, it helps a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's hot.
You talked about DTM being more fan-oriented. Now in America, Formula One is not that big, but the fans are very fanatical. I live on the West Coast in California, and there's a group of us used to gather at 4 a.m. so we could watch the races live.
Yes.
You only raced at the USGP, I think, twice.
Yes.
Did you notice a difference in terms of the atmosphere, or what were your thoughts about racing in America?
Definitely the fans are more noisier, you
really?
know, and probably a little bit more colorful. Because all the fans in US, they have a lot of different type of racing clothes on all the time, the caps and the clothes. But in Europe, the people have less like racing type of
apparel, clothes.
Yes, indeed.
What do you drive every day? What is your everyday car?
Mercedes.
Mercedes, which one? Of course.
But because I'm a family man, we have an M-Class in Monaco, what we're using, and because it's a 4 doors and a lot of space, so that's what we use.
Do 2-time Formula One champions change diapers?
What? What are those? Yeah, only emergency situation. I do that, you know.
You call the safety car?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the CLS55. Obviously, it's a very dramatic shape. It's much different than any other car. Mercedes has gotten a lot of accolades. Do you like the styling of the CLS55?
I like it because I think it's a very aerodynamic car. So, you know, I'm sure on a straight line speed, you can reach a very high speed if you want to.
And we're about to find out. Without further ado, why don't you grab a car? I'm going to grab one and let's go do it.
Let's do it.
All
yes. Okay, here we go.
There you go.
There you go. Bye. Hey man, don't go too fast, I can't catch you.
Yeah, right. You're too kind. You know how to suck up to the host.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mika, I mean, the heart of AMG is these supercharged V8s. What do you think of that power?
I think it's fantastic, and what is most impressive, it is a torque which really gives a great impression. You can feel your body going in the seat, so it's a good feeling.
Uh-oh, I think I'm in trouble here. I just blew turn 1, and I've got a 2-time champion closing in on me. How do you like those brakes?
I think they're great, and when you press the brakes, instantly you had a bite on the brakes, which is important that way when we're in the traffic and you see something coming and you have to brake quickly. And this car, when you touch the brakes, you have instant feelings.
It's basically fly-by-wire brake. There's a thing that senses if the pads have been pushed back at all. It actually applies a little bit of a brake to move the pads right back next to the rotor, so there's no delay. They also have a thing for in the rain, it will push the pads up against the rotors just enough to dry them off so that you don't lose that instant of the first time you use the brakes. Now, Mika, obviously the ESP is a great thing, but one thing we always like to do is we like to turn it off. Kind of sounds like the fun police to me, so...
Well, I can see that. I can see over there. Reality is I prefer to keep that on, you know, because it's a really good safety thing, you know, and this is an expensive car.
With your money, come on. Monaco, don't pay taxes.
Tommy, everything is relative.
That's true. A Formula One car only has to do one thing, you know, which is be the ultimate in speed. It doesn't have to be comfortable to drive for 6 hours, you know?
Yeah, but, you know, talking about driving a CLS, driving Formula One, talking about the ride on the road or, you know, on the racetrack. Formula One always focusing for the perfection on the ride. And of course, when you go in Formula One 200 or 150 miles per hour, the ride is absolutely fantastic. But when you go 60 miles per hour or 50 miles per hour with the Formula One car, the ride is, to be honest, it's awful. So, you know, when we drive in CLS, they concentration also for perfection. But in speeds, when you go in 50 miles per hour or, okay, 150 miles per hour, but when you start heading towards to 200 miles per hour, in road car, I don't recommend.
What do you think of the handling? I mean, this is a nice section here, nice flowing rhythm. Do you like the way the car handles?
It's fantastic how it is balanced, you know. And in this car, you can change the suspension. You can have it either hard, soft suspension. So it depends what kind of performance you want to have with the car.
You hit on something very important, and you said, well, you can change the ride. They call it AMG's adaptive damping, which is changing the shock damping, you know, many times a second. And then it also has AMG's dual airmatic, which is literally, it's an active, semi-active suspension that controls ride height and spring rate, so that you can have it be controllable on the Autobahn. But when you're driving the car, you don't know any of this is going on. You just know, God, it's great around town.
Tommy, I appreciate that you said that, you know, because I didn't know all that electronics and all this luxury what this car has. So now we can speed up. Let's go.
Ah, look at that. There we go. There we go. I knew there was a demon hiding in there somewhere. You've kept it hidden for almost this whole interview. Now the transmission, this has what's called speed shift, and it shifts 35% faster than a normal CLS. Now compared to your old Formula One car, everything probably feels slow in comparison.
Well, you know, feeling this gearbox, I think it's changing the gear very smoothly, which is very important. But still it does it quite quick. So it's a pleasant, you know, that's one of the most important, that way the ride is comfortable with the performance.
I better do this before I die, because I've never passed a two-time Formula One world champion.
Oh.
A little later in the show, I'm going to put a big wheel mark, big donut on your door. Dale Earnhardt taught me that one. What is it about Finland that produces great racing drivers? Obviously, KK paved the way for you. We've had JJ Leto on our show. Then, of course, you and Kimi. What is it about it up there?
Only reason what I can really say it is the conditions. Difficult conditions in Finland in terms of weather, and what is also quite an important point is the motor racing is more or less our national sport.
Hey Mika, I know you're busy. I've watched you for years. Other than that brief time in Helsinki, never met you. You're a lot of fun. Thank you for taking the time out to do our show.
I appreciate that. It was really good fun. Thank you, Tom.